Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Ghouly Pleasures. I'm Kendra.
And I'm Darcy. And today we're getting into episode 5 of Talamasca, The Puzzle Palace.
I like that title.
I like that title. I wanted to talk about why it's titled The Puzzle Palace.
Yeah.
But we can get into that at the end.
We can get into that at the end.
Yeah. For now, though, let's get into it. We get some answers this episode. Finally.
Finally, indeed.
Kept us on the edge of our seats. So many questions, finally some answers. So first up, we get some clarity on Helen's sister, the long-teased mystery child, who's basically been haunting the background of the entire narrative this whole time.
Well, for the past, 3 episodes.
I mean, there's only been 5, so. Turns out her name is Emma, and the moment Helen left the Talamasca little institute they were in to go to America, they shipped her sister off on a train.
Mm-hmm.
And she's escorted by what I assume is some Talamasca dude.
Yeah, some Talamasca agent.
Yeah. Didn't look familiar to me.
No.
I don't think we know him yet.
Mm-mm.
But he basically is promising her that she's going someplace where they have everything she could imagine and want.
Yep.
And if you ask me, whenever someone makes a promise like that, it's never a good sign.
No, absolutely not. He was so sure about everything she wanted. Oh, we're going to have it. It seems suspicious.
Right?
Especially talking like that to a child.
Right? He was like, all the candy you could ever hope and dream for.
Too much for you to handle.
So it's given some ominous vibes, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then he starts quizzing Emma about these little facts, these tidbits, like, how many steps did it take me to get to the train? How many steps did it take you? How about that man in that other carriage? What color were his shoes?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
He answered every single one.
Yep.
So we could have guessed something, some kind of ability.
Some kind of how do you pronounce it? Omniscience? Omniscience?
Omniscient.
Is that how you pronounce it? We're going to have to look it up afterwards. It's either omniscience or omniscience. She's got something going on. But I don't know. Maybe it's more just hyper awareness because he didn't.
Yeah, it seems like she's just she takes in a lot of information and retains it.
Yeah. Right. Yes. They kept it kind of vague. They gave us a teaser of it, but it's still kind of vague and can be, developed and morphed however they want to use it story-wise.
She's like a super genius at this point, it just seems like.
Yeah, pretty much. I wish I was a super genius.
Also, no, I wish I was stupider. That would make my life so much. We always say we wish we were hot and dumb.
Hot, dumb. Yep. Hot, rich, and dumb. You have to be rich, too.
Yes, true.
But, when I think about it, too, taking in all that information has to be so exhausting.
Oh, yeah. Unbelievably. I can only imagine.
I can barely take in, basic facts that affect me every single day. I'm, already exhausted, so I'll pass.
Literally.
I'll pass. That's a superpower she can keep to herself. Cutting back to the main storyline and the fallout from last week's disaster is officially hitting the fan.
Mm-hmm.
Jasper and Guy's little collaboration, if we can even call it that, because it was tenuous at best.
Yes, that has officially come to an end. And do you still trust Jasper? Do you still want to be part of his little coven?
I'm just saying, this didn't have to happen. All Jasper wants to know is, who is this girl that's protecting you, Guy? And also stop reading my mind. Jasper has only 2 requests. Who's this girl that's interfering with our mission? And stop trying to get in my head. I'm not totally defending him. I'm just saying, those aren't unreasonable questions and requests. That's all.
Fair enough.
My real question is, how does Jesper not realize that Doris is in the car with them?
I have the same question. Like, don't they have like supersonic senses? Like, how do
Right.
you not sense another being literally 1 foot away from you?
He's a vampire. And on top of that, he's shown to have some kind of like greater psychic abilities because he could tell when Guy was reading his mind. And allegedly, Guy is supposed to be able to read a vampire's mind without them knowing.
Mhm.
But Jesper knew.
But Jesper doesn't know this random girl's hiding out in the back of the car?
Right.
Interesting. I wonder if
Very
they
interesting.
think that's a plot hole, or do you think that's going to come up?
I mean, she is a witch.
I also had a question about that. If she's a witch, why is she just like using flares and fire to fight these? Don't they have magic?
Right. Okay, let's get to that. Let's get to that. So, Jesper and Guy, their little relationship is starting to implode. Jesper doesn't like that Guy's still keeping things from him, and he decides that he's going to turn him into a revenant, just like he did with Checkers. So he brings Guy downstairs to his little torture basement and is basically like, Guy, dig your grave. Let's go. And then out of nowhere, bow, our girl Doris pops in with, as Kendra said, a do it yourself flamethrower that she used. Remember in the last episode, she took a canister off of like a cleaning cart at the hotel. So she uses that to make her own DIY flamethrower to burn Jesper's face off. So, Kendra, very good question. Why does this witch have to create her little own DIY flamethrower? Why can't she create a spell?
Literally, we have not seen, I don't think we've seen any of the alleged witches in the show do any sort of magic, have we?
No, actually, I believe you're right. The closest thing I guess we may have seen would be Kevis perhaps using her ability to,
Oh, like seduce guy. Mhm.
exactly, to seduce him, make him feel comfortable. But even that, you can't necessarily attribute that to her powers. That could
Right.
have just been a genuine connection. We don't really have a solid way of knowing either way.
That's true. And I heard that these witches also have specific gifts individual to them. So we don't really
Yes.
know what Doris's gift is, do we? I don't think they've ever.
Right. Yeah, no, I don't believe they've touched on it in any capacity yet. So maybe that's something that's still yet to be revealed to us. But for now, a DIY flamethrower will get the job done.
It did.
It did. She freaking burns Jesper's face off
It's
with
gone.
he's a burn victim at this point. And while he's, burning, Guy and Doris make a great escape from Jesper's little revenant army. There were a lot of revenants to be escaping,
Yeah.
but somehow they make it through and they make a getaway in a car. And Jesper's obviously fucking pissed.
Oh, God, yeah.
So he essentially decides to use all the resources of the London Talamasca branch to track them down.
Hmm.
And they're monitoring basically everything, like airport, transit, everything. So Jesper and Doris are kind of in a tough spot.
Hmm.
But thankfully, they're not totally stupid. And they know that Jesper's going to be coming for them and that there's no way they themselves are going to be able to escape. And so they need help. And
Hmm.
Guy asks a reasonable question. He's like, yo, what about your coven? Because I'm just saying, I would also ask the witches for help. People with magic makes sense when you're running from a vampire.
Yeah. Get other supernatural beings to help you with other supernatural beings.
Exactly. That's all I'm saying. But Doris doesn't want to involve her coven, which I also understand because she just lost Kevis. So
And
makes
she's
sense.
intertwined with everything going on anyway.
Right. So since Doris doesn't want to go to her coven for help, Guy kind of turns to the only place he can, which is Helen.
Mhm.
He uses the Talamasca's own little messaging system, does a little X marks the spot on the telephone booth, and lets Helen know where she got to meet him. And she goes to his strip club, and there's like a little peekaboo sort of thing where she puts in a coin, and the curtain opens, and there's Guy
There's Guy, old Guy, putting on a little show.
putting on a little peek show. And Guy lets Helen know that he's in danger.
Let me say this. He emotionally manipulates Helen in this whole situation, and I'm gonna
1
tell you
million.
right now, this scene made me not like Guy's character. I do not like him at this point. First of all, maybe it's because I don't like men talking to women in the manner that he was talking to Helen. It could
Hmm.
be that. I don't know if it's how the actor is choosing to play this character or if the show is trying to make him unlikable, but I did not like him in this scene. I did not. He was emotionally manipulative, like much like how Jasper was in the earlier episodes. He was emotionally manipulating Guy, and now Guy's emotionally manipulating Helen. Because
Yep.
first of all, he does not trust Helen. He does not trust the Talamasca, but he knows Helen has some sort of care for him, and he's going to use that to his advantage.
Yep. So I think he like smells blood in the water with her vulnerability right now.
Hmm.
And knowing that she has kind of a weak spot for him. I mean, understandably, he jumped on that. I totally get it. He basically is like, I'm in danger and it's your fault. I know about Soledad, who also died because of you. Do you want me to be Soledad 2.0? And then he kind of twists the knife a little further because he knows that she's looking for something or someone. So he's like, I'll help you find it, whatever it is. So between that and the emotional manipulation of this is your fault, Helen, I completely agree. He totally took advantage of her in this moment to manipulate her. And now we even know that from the last episode, Helen really only joined the Talamasca to find her sister. So her loyalty to the Talamasca is already, shaky at
Yeah,
best.
like everybody in the Talamasca, apparently.
Right. Apparently, basically, everyone in the Talamasca is only there for their own purpose,
Mhm.
which that's how it should be in capitalism. So good for them.
You're not wrong.
Use that company to get what you need. Screw it. But so much emotional manipulations evolved, and Helen agrees to help both Guy and Doris escape while she takes the time to gather everything that they need to be able to escape. She has Guy and Doris go hide in a Talamasca safe house. Then afterwards, Helen goes to meet up with everyone's favorite handler, Olive. And
Mhm.
Olive has just gotten off of a phone call with our favorite New York tech bro who works for the New York Talamasca branch. And apparently he found something very concerning about Helen. They don't tell
We
us
don't
what.
find. Nope.
Nope. All I saw was like what looks like a CCTV photo of Helen and
Mm.
then some sort of like report.
See? Couldn't tell you.
Nope. What crossed my mind was maybe it's not necessarily Helen, maybe it's her twin, and they
Mm.
just don't know because they don't know. I assume they don't know she has a twin.
Yeah, could be.
Either way, Olive decides that she's going to keep this information to herself because when Helen walks into this little cafe that they're meeting in and says, "Oh, who was that?" She tells her who it was, but she makes up a lie about what the phone call was about.
Hmm.
Red flag number one.
Exactly.
And
But
then,
Helen also did seem suspicious when she did get the phone call. She was like, "Who was that?"
yes, I agree. There's a moment before she enters the little cafe where Helen watches Olive from the window.
Hmm.
And it definitely felt like she already had a feeling something was going on. And you know what? Hey, remember the last episode where Helen gave that little tech bro that name that her old friend gave to her, that the name she
Oh
slipped
yeah.
into the pocket?
Hmm.
And she was like, hey, can you look up this name and find out what's going on with it, but keep it on the DL? And what did we say? We said, I don't think that's a smart choice,
Exactly.
but you do you, girl. You want to keep it a secret? Ask someone in your super spy society to look it up for you. I'm sure it'll stay a secret. So maybe it's related to that. Maybe
Yeah.
not directly, but maybe like looking around at that name pulls up other.
Yeah, when he was digging, he probably found something else on her. Yeah.
Exactly. So then Helen tells Olive that they're helping Guy escape London because he's in trouble. And Olive asks where Guy is. And then Helen says, oh, he's at the witch's coven, in the boathouse, laying low.
Hmm.
And I don't know what it was, but the second that Olive asked that question and Helen answered, I got like that horror movie dread. Like, when you're watching a random scene and then you suddenly have to watch someone crossing the street and that a car's coming. Like, there's no reason for the camera to be showing us someone crossing the street except for the fact that something awful is about to happen. That's the feeling I got with this back and forth
Hmm.
between Olive and Helen.
Mm.
I was like, why does she need to know? Hmm? What does it matter?
What does it matter?
And then I felt it was a little weird too, because like Helen didn't disclose to her the fact that she was sending them to the safe house. She just left it at, oh, they're holding up with the coven on river. So it felt like Helen, whether it was a choice or she just, didn't feel the need to finish the information, but it
Or
felt like she was right. Like it felt like she was intentionally leaving something out. That's
yeah.
all. So all of our suspicions are proven right immediately because, surprise, surprise, Jesper sends his revenants to the witch's boathouse and proceeds to massacre them.
Obliterate them. The coven is wiped out.
I found it quite ironic since just an episode ago he was waxing poetic, all sad about how some vampire did that to his clan back in the day.
Hmm.
Like, oh, it's okay when you murder innocent people because of associations, but it's not okay if it happens to your family.
Exactly.
So I'll say this is when my loyalty towards Jesper started to shift. Like everything before here, I was like, legit, understandable, bro. I get it.
Go off.
Right. This moment, I was like, well, now you're just a hypocrite. Damn it. You can't be standing on that freaking podium acting like you're all like about changing the world for the better.
Hmm.
It's just about you, bro.
Yep.
This is when unfortunately I decided, oh, I guess I can't be Team Jesper anymore.
It sucks because that actor is eating this role up.
Yes, he is so much charisma. It's crazy. But so the most interesting part about this scene is who's watching.
Hmm. Big reveal here.
Yep. Surprise, surprise. Little Miss Olive, everyone's favorite handler, is watching as this entire coven is brutally murdered.
Hmm.
So she's a mole.
He's the mole.
And we actually find out a little bit more about this because our little detective friends, over at the police station, finally managed to crack that USB encryption. And we find out that Chrysalis, the information that poor Soledad gave her life to find in episode 1, it's freaking Olive's alias.
It's her whole file.
Yes. Olive is Chrysalis.
And we questioned her early, like, what is the point of her character?
Literally.
Her job. We don't know what she's here for. Is she going to play a bigger role? Here we are.
Here we are. It's like she was bad at her job on purpose.
Yes. 100%.
But I have another question about this because, it's revealed obviously Olive is the mole. But why is she on Jesper's side? And does it have anything to do with the flashbacks that were suddenly shown of her watching Kevis. Like, is that just to show that Olive has been monitoring Kevis? Or were these random flashbacks of her and Kevis meant to show that she might have had feelings for Kevis?
Interesting. I don't know.
Well, hopefully, we'll get more answers on that.
I mean, we only have one episode left, so we gotta get something.
You're right, but I don't know. Maybe it's one of those things that they'll just leave unanswered because it's not necessarily relevant to the core of the plot.
What is the plot?
True. What is the core
Is
of the
it
plot?
trusting the book? Is it who do we trust?
Yeah, honestly. I mean, that's also another question that I have then. So, why is Olive working for Jesper? And does she trust him? Or is there something she wants? Or
Like that
does
she's probably trying to gain from this. Jasper
right,
something that
right.
he needs to know.
Yeah, maybe he's like a means to an end.
Mhm.
It's not about Jesper and believing in his vision. She has her own goal. And unfortunately for Helen and Guy, Jesper is the only way that she's really going to get there.
Mhm.
But I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. But I thought it was a really interesting reveal. I didn't, obviously, we felt like something was weird about Olive, but I
Yeah.
don't think we anticipated that specifically. I
No.
certainly.
Really just was confused about her as a character in general. Like, why was she here? She had to
Right.
give her reason, but I didn't think too hard about like what her further purpose in the show was going to be.
Right. Yeah. You're totally right. Like until now, you could have taken her out of the situation and Guy would have been in a better position actually because the cops would have caught on to him less soon, I feel like.
Mhm.
But for the most part, you could pull her out and it wouldn't make a
It
difference
wouldn't
until
change.
now.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Well, meanwhile, while all the poor witches are getting murdered, Guy and Doris have made their temporary escape to the Talamasca safe house. They're playing some board games and doing some trauma bonding.
Yep. It's a nice old trauma bonding.
Yeah, they have an interesting dynamic. Very different from Guy with Kevis, but just as interesting. You know what I mean?
I think it's different types of attraction.
Yeah. It felt low key. Like Kevis and Guy felt like, oh, here's like a hot one night stand kind of deal. But Doris and Guy low key feel like they've been married for a hot second. Like, and they're just chilling.
It's like an old married couple.
Yeah. But I high key was worried about it because when they later, after, they waste the day away and talk about what they're gonna do from here, where they're gonna go, and don't really have a solid answer. Um, they go to bed and they're sharing a bed and they're facing each other and they're starting to get closer to each other and closer. And I kind of was worried. I was like, is he gonna hook up with Doris too? Like, hasn't he already been accused of like getting around? And like, you're gonna hook up with the girl who died, her best friend. You're gonna like, what? No, stop, God.
I feel like I don't know if it was going to happen in this episode, but I feel like it's setting them up to be a couple of some sort.
Yeah, I definitely got that vibe.
But whatever.
Right. I'm just happy they didn't do anything in this episode, though. Unfortunately, I don't think it was necessarily because they were like, let's make good life choices, but more because guys, either via like subtle mind probing or just general vibes, realizes that Doris is hiding something from him.
Mhm.
We see that she's hiding the 752 under the bed.
Yep. The slow reveal down to her book back under the bed and the book just hanging out, freeballing it the whole time.
Yeah. First of all, I ain't even surprised because I didn't trust Doris for a second.
They don't trust anybody in the show.
I
No.
know that's this whole show is just like stranger danger, stranger danger. Don't trust anyone.
Ugh.
But I don't know how she has hid it from him the whole time and like got it under the bed and he never saw it. Like she shove it under the bed and then the flap fall open and suddenly
Yeah,
exposed. Like what if he gets up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night and he
literally.
comes back and
At
is like,
third
what's
table, you
this?
see what's under that bed.
Exactly. That's all I'm saying. Hide it better if you're gonna hide it. That's all. But this made me wonder, like, do you think Doris went to the crime scene?
That's where the book disappeared because that was the last time we seen the book in anybody's possession was at the crime scene of Kevis and Archie.
Yes, exactly.
So she must have went there to retrieve the book. She,
Right.
he's involved with them somehow. That's what I feel like this is implying at this point.
Yeah.
It's just interesting. Interesting turn of events.
Yeah. It's also, when I ponder on it, it's even more interesting because a few episodes ago, we saw Doris kind of just hanging outside of the London Talamasca watching as Guy and Jesper temporarily joined forces,
Mhm.
right? Um, and also a few episodes ago, Doris basically told Guy that she thinks Jasper might have been responsible for Kevis's death. I just wonder, given her capacity to, you know, lurk, if she may have seen more of that night where Kevis was killed than she's letting on. It's like
Mhm.
she knows more than has been revealed.
I mean, everyone seems to know more than what they've let on, besides Guy.
Besides Guy. Guy genuinely is just a regular guy who's just here for the ride. Good for him. But yeah, we got two big reveals this episode.
Hmm.
I don't know that it does anything to answer questions so much as
No,
just set up more new ones.
we got some reveals, but it just gave us more questions. And
Yes.
when we have one episode left, what's it gonna? How much are they gonna be able to tell us?
Right. There's lots of what, who, why questions that are
Mhm.
left. You reveals don't equal resolution.
Exactly.
In fact, it's kind of the opposite.
Yeah,
So I'm definitely at this point very concerned for a finale.
me too. I feel like ugh, this season is just like a setup season for a season two.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's what I don't like about modern television these days. No one's just like writing a story to tell a story. They
Right.
want to get more episodes and set something up. They don't have a story to tell. They just
Right.
are trying to greenlight more seasons so they get more money.
Yep. Yep. And I'm honestly surprised and disappointed that this is only 6 episodes long. I feel like, I mean, I miss the day when a season was 20 episodes long, okay? But like, I don't need that. But like, I feel like this could have benefited from at least 2 more episodes.
Yeah, because it's like I don't know how because I like we said last episode this penultimate episode we feel like everything's going to come to a head in this episode. Nothing really came to a head besides a couple of big reveals. So
No.
that led the finale, which I fear is going to end on a cliffhanger because there's so much
Yeah.
to unpack with this season, with
Yep.
how much they've revealed and how much they haven't let on,
Right.
that if they're going to save it for a later season and just end on a cliffhanger. I don't think much is going to be able to get resolved in the
Yeah.
last episode.
I mean, have to be so much. I mean, we still barely know anything about Helen's sister, what they were doing at that Talamasca testing facility where her sister is now, what became of her. Same with Guy and his mom. Why was she on the run from the Talamasca in the first place? Where is she now? Ugh, now the new episodes with, excuse me, new questions related to Doris, the new questions related to
Well,
Olive. I mean, God, the only one who I'm like, I have no questions about, and their story could be wrapped up in a way. It is Jasper, because I'm like, Jasper's the only person who's laid everything on the table. I know what he wants. I know what's going on here. Just give
what
him.
he gets what he wants with the book. He just wants to take Talamasca down. So we have to see him enact that plan if he
Yeah,
does get the book.
that's what I mean. Like this part of his arc can be wrapped up if the final episode ends with him getting his hands on the 752 and starting to enact his plan.
Mhm.
That would be so much fun. And also, would low-key have some ramifications on other shows in the Anne Rice universe potentially.
Yeah, that's true.
Especially since the new season of Interview with the Vampire Lestat, given the arc it's going to be covering, it's
Hmm.
going to be a lot of chaos with the
That's
vampires.
true. They could be setting a lot of stuff up for that
Yeah,
season.
they've gone out of their way to show that these universes are connected and will impact each other. So I think it would be really smart of them if they do continue to link them together. And like, what better way than to have the conclusion of season one of Talamasca have some sort of ramifications on the Vampire Lestat?
Yeah, that could be interesting. I wonder if they will tie more into that universe in the last episode too to make it more connected. Because I
Mm,
think if they're gonna leave this season on a cliffhanger to set up something for season two, they need something else to get us hooked in, which would
yeah,
be connecting that to Interview with the Vampire.
yeah,
They need to introduce something in this last episode.
I
Otherwise,
agree.
it's like, what was the point of this season? It was just
Right,
in
right.
like Interview with the Vampire is coming out next. So before
Right.
we get another season of this.
Hmm. Right. I mean, this hasn't even been confirmed for season two yet. So,
As far as I know.
and another thing I was kind of disappointed about so far, I mean, to be fair, this episode takes place right after the events of the previous episode, so there's
Mhm.
no real space for the characters to breathe. But like, I was expecting, based on certain things that happened the last episode, I was like hoping to see a little more development with Guy in terms of his powers and what his
Yeah, like
motives
we talked about
for.
this last episode. We thought his little thing with the head of the coven at the last hotel.
Yep. And
was
throwing out his
some-
pills. But so
Gotta
far, all he's done
stay
is,
sane.
yeah, he just became more emotionally manipulative, which he learned. I mean, he's learned from the best between
Yes,
Helen and Vesper.
100%.
Like, it was inevitable that this would happen.
Yeah, can't blame him. He's trying to survive, but
Yeah. But no. So I don't know. I still have some high hopes for the final episode next week, but definitely at this point, concerned.
yes, I have my concerns about the show. Like, I don't even know if like we give it a rating at the end of the season, if we'll even be able to rate it on like a
Right.
1 to 10 scale because it just seems like a setup for
Right.
something bigger. So nothing really happened.
Right. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, if I was reading a book, this would be like the first, what, 10 chapters of a book where I lay the groundwork and I'd be like, that really pulled me in. I can't wait to see where it goes. But if I have to wait like 2 years to see where it goes in a season two, that's going to suck.
Yep.
They don't have to resolve everything. I just need them to give us
I
something.
know. I just wish they would just wrap it in a tight little bow and then give us a little something to get us to anticipate another season.
I don't think they're gonna. It's too much.
Introduced too much in these last few episodes.
Yeah. Introduce too much without tying any other stories
Mhm.
off.
Like,
That's
yeah,
the problem.
everything's so separated right now, too. Like, everyone has their own plot point that we don't know too much about, and we
Right.
don't know if we're going to connect further into the general story.
Right. I don't know. And now like Olive, for example, if they get a season two, is she gonna be more of a main character now that she's suddenly getting this side storyline about being the mole?
Hmm.
I don't know. So uh, truly I just don't know.
I
So
know.
we'll just have to find out. But before we end this episode, do you have any theories about why the title episode was The Puzzle Palace?
Hmm. No.
Okay.
Maybe because they just threw, like we said, they threw so much information, different puzzle pieces at us, and we haven't put it together yet.
Maybe. Honestly, that makes sense. They're just like, we're just putting all these it'll make sense eventually, but here's a bunch of little pieces. We can start getting it together. You can't see the whole picture yet, but someday we promise you will.
You will see a palace at some point.
The glorious palace. No, but truly, like last week's episode title made sense. Wet work
Mhm.
with the blood and everything. This week's episode, I don't know.
Yeah,
The
it's
puzzle.
just a puzzle.
It's a
It's
puzzle.
the little pieces that they just threw at us. And we're supposed to make something of it, but I can't.
It should have been like the puzzle disaster or puzzle mayhem. Like,
Where's the palace I was promised?
right. Let's not call it a puzzle until it's complete or something. It's not. We're not there yet. But I will just say that I have enjoyed the show thus far for what it is. Just a little concerned as far as how we're gonna wrap things up next week.
Yeah.
That's all.
It's mostly an enjoyable show. Like, I prefer a more character-driven show, personally, but
Mhm.
this is intriguing enough that I'm invested.
Right. They have a lot of interesting setups with the characters. If they get a season 2, I mean, so much of the plot could be character driven. I mean, everyone so far has nothing but insanely strong character motivations. Like, Guy is all about finding his mom, Helen's all about finding his
Mhm.
sister, Jesper's all about, you know, bringing vampires back into a strong place in the world because of his personal tragedy and trauma.
Mhm.
There's potential. I just feel like you're right in that it's being less, the writing is more plot
Yeah,
focused.
so they're introducing these character drops, but, like, there's
They're
not
not exploring it.
to explore them as characters individually. Like, so far, everyone in the show just, like we said earlier, we don't know who to trust, who's in the right, who's in the wrong, because everyone's so all over the place. So it's, like, hard for me to connect emotionally to any character because they haven't had time to grow.
Right. I agree. Like, even if, for example, someone like Helen, even though she's so kind of morally gray and we're not really sure where she stands, the very least, they need to work harder, in my opinion, to build up that emotional connection.
Mhm.
Because, well, as we talked about before, someone like Louis or Lestat, they're insanely morally gray. It's sometimes totally vile in their actions, but you're just so emotionally involved and attached that you care for them even in their ugliest
Yeah,
moments.
and early on in the show too, like season 1 of Interview with a Vampire, really these characters all were really fleshed out in emotional ways
Yeah.
that were able to connect with them.
I think a part of it too is that those characters were given more time to breathe as
Mhm.
characters, whereas every I think every single scene we've had with these characters has been plot related.
Yes, exactly. This is a definitely a plot-driven show,
Yeah.
and like an Interview with the Vampire is a character-driven show because that the plot of Interview with the Vampire is not so much about like any singular thing, but it's about their relationship.
Yes. And their growth
Yeah,
as individuals and as a family unit. Yeah. I agree. Like, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with a plot driven show,
nothing. No.
but you just need to make space in the plot driven show for character moments as well. But I do understand why, with only 6 episodes, there wasn't really the space for them to do that because we're already talking about like there's so much story here that they don't even have enough time to wrap it up. So I can't imagine if they put more character moments in where we would be plot wise.
Mhm. But I feel like they did try to give us character moments with Doris and Guy at the safe house. But at
Yeah.
this series, I'm like, I don't really care.
Right, it's too late as far as Guy, and I don't like when they try to give me quote unquote character moments when it's specifically with the intent of pushing a potentially romantic relationship. And that's what those moments felt like to
Yeah.
me. Like, make me care about both of these people as individual characters first, and then after they've stewed in their own individualness, we can start to bring them together. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I just,
I
I
was
don't know.
worried about that with those scenes too, because I'm like, if they try to like push a romantic relationship between these two,
Right,
it's like you said, I haven't known enough about either of these characters to care about them, to care about a potential relationship.
right. Like, I liked their dynamic. There's potential there, but you need to make me care about them both first before you push it on us. That's all.
But like with most shows, it when they add romance and it's not a romance show, they're not going to take time to develop them individually.
Right. Right. They'll be like, oh, they banged. They're in love.
There you go.
Yep. Couldn't tell when they were having sex. That means they're in
I
love.
love.
God. I hope it doesn't go that way. Honestly, I would prefer this show to remain entirely free of romantic relationships before it goes down that path.
I agree.
But I mean, if you have in your universe Louis and Lestat, one of the best developed, most fucked up but loved relationships on television, period. So you better be consulting with the people who are writing that over there if you want to be making any kind of romantic relationship that you want me invested in. Just ask your coworkers for some advice. They can help.
Writers from that on the show. Oof.
It's literally like Mayfair Witches. I mourn what it could have been. I'm like, it didn't have to be the same people who did Interview with the Vampire, but if you had people working on Mayfair Witches who had half the passion about the material and the characters that the Interview with the Vampire writers had, it could have been leagues better. It could have been amazing. This show, Talamasca, is a little different, obviously, because we're not necessarily working with direct source material. So there's a different sort of freedom that comes with that, but also sort of a handicap because, Lestat and Louis come with their own dynamics that the audience is familiar with and we love. So you do have to do work, obviously.
Yeah, there's more stake for this show to
exactly.
Also, how much of the Anne Rice universe are they going to incorporate into this series?
Right.
It'd be interesting to see.
Yeah. I can't wait. It'll be, no matter what. I mean, sometimes I like watching a train wreck. So I hope next week is either a great, solid ending or a total train wreck and nothing in between.
I know. Don't end with a bang, not a whimper.
Exactly. Don't be mid. Be anything but mid.
The worst ever, I will eat it up. I don't care.
Exactly.
But just don't be mediocre.
Exactly. Please. Keep our fingers and toes crossed and see what happens.
Okay. Well, that wraps up episode 5 of Talamasca. We hope to see you in the next one for the finale of the season. And let us know how you felt about this season so far. And what do you think the final season is going to bring? And we hope to see you then. Bye, guys. Bye.